Welcome back to my channel. Hope you are doing well and also studying well. So let's start today's video. Today's video is the part 4 video of paper 1 of CA Foundation Principles and Practice of Accounting, Chapter 1 Theoretical Framework, Unit 3 Accounting Terminology Glossary. So let's start. In the previous video, the part 3 video, I have completed till functional classification, and today we will be starting with fund. So let's start. If you're liking my videos, do not forget to give this video a like, and also in the comment section down below, do not forget to give your feedback and your suggestions so that I can improve myself. And also, if you like my videos, share it with your friends and also subscribe to this channel. Yes, please subscribe for supporting me. I feel happy. So let's start. Fund. Our next topic, or the first topic for this video, is fund. What is a fund? A fund is an account, usually of the nature of a reserve or a provision, which is represented by specifically earmarked assets. So, what is a fund? Fund is an account. Yes, fund is an account. Every business, in the financial statements of a business, everything is depicted by a fund. So, fund is an account in the nature of a reserve or provision. A reserve or provision. A reserve or a provision. So, a fund is a reserve or provision which is earmarked with an asset or related to an asset. What is a reserve or provision? As we all know, a reserve or a provision is a part of the profit which is earned during an accounting period. A reserve is a proportion of profit or an appropriation of profit. By appropriating profit earned during an accounting period, a fund is created. So, when that reserve is related or joined or adjusted with an asset or aligned to an asset or earmarked to an asset, it becomes a fund. जब एक रिजर्व क्रिएट किया जाता है और उस रिजर्व या फिर प्रोविजन का एक एसेट से रिलेट किया जाता है उस रिजर्व या फिर प्रोविजन को, जब एक रिजर्व क्रिएट किया जाता है और उसी रिजर्व या फिर प्रोविजन को जो प्रॉफिट से क्रिएट किया जाता है उसे एक एसेट से रिलेट किया जाता है या फिर एसेट से ईयरमार्क किया जाता है, उसे हम लोग फंड कहते हैं. Our next topic is fundamental accounting assumptions. So, fundamental accounting assumptions is already discussed in Unit 2 video. What are the fundamental accounting assumptions? As we all know, there are 3 fundamental accounting assumptions. The fundamental accounting assumptions are assumed to be followed by an accountant while preparing the financial statements of a business. So, what are the fundamental accounting assumptions? They are going concern, accrual, and consistency. These are the 3 fundamental accounting assumptions. If you haven't seen this video, the Unit 2 video, please check out my channel and also subscribe to my channel. So, fundamental accounting assumption is basic accounting assumptions which underlie the preparation and presentation of financial statements. फंडामेंटल अकाउंटिंग एजम्पशंस का मेन काम होता है या फिर मेन जो ऑब्जेक्टिव होता है वो रिलेटेड है प्रिपरेशन एंड प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. एक बिजनेस का फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स को प्रिपेयर एंड प्रेजेंट करने के जो तरीका है वो तरीका फंडामेंटल अकाउंटिंग एजम्पशंस कह देते हैं या फिर मेंशन कर देते हैं. The preparation or the process of preparation and presentation of financial statements of a business is mentioned by the fundamental accounting assumptions. They are going concern, consistency, and accrual. Usually, they are not specifically stated because their acceptance and use are assumed. Disclosure is necessary if they are not followed. So, there are three fundamental accounting assumptions: going concern, consistency, accrual. अगर इन तीनों फंडामेंटल अकाउंटिंग एजम्पशंस को फॉलो किया जाता है, एक अकाउंटेंट फंडामेंटल स्टेटमेंट करने के समय अगर इन तीनों फंडामेंटल अकाउंटिंग एजम्पशंस का यूज करते हैं, उसका डिस्क्लोजर नहीं देना पड़ता है. लेकिन अगर उस अकाउंटेंट ये जो तीन फंडामेंटल अकाउंटिंग एजम्पशंस है उसे फॉलो नहीं करता है, उस नहीं करने का जो रीजन है और नहीं किया गया है, ये स्टेटमेंट को नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स में, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स का नोट्स टू अकाउंट्स जो है वहां पे मेंशन करना पड़ेगा और डिस्क्लोजर देना पड़ेगा. तो let's discuss now what is going concern concept. As per discussed in Unit 2 of this chapter, Chapter-1, going concern is a fundamental accounting assumption, number 1. Number 2, going concern is the accounting concept which assumes that a business will continue its operation for a foreseeable future. गोइंग कंसर्न एक अकाउंटिंग कंसेप्ट है जो एज्यूम कर लेता है कि एक बिजनेस जो है वो फोर्सिएबल फ्यूचर के लिए अपना ऑपरेशंस या फिर अपना लाइफ कंटिन्यू करेगा, वो खत्म नहीं हो जाएगा. एक बिजनेस जब सेटअप होता है उसका कोई इंटेंशन नहीं होता है कि वो बंद हो जाए एक टाइम के बाद. उसी को ही हम लोग डिपिक्ट करते हैं गोइंग कंसर्न कंसेप्ट से. सेकेंड, कंसिस्टेंसी कंसेप्ट क्या होता है? कंसिस्टेंसी कंसेप्ट इज अ फंडामेंटल अकाउंटिंग कंसेप्ट, फंडामेंटल अकाउंटिंग assumption. Number 2, consistency is an accounting concept which assumes or says that if an accounting concept is utilized or used in one accounting period, the same accounting concept or accounting method should be utilized in further accounting periods also year after year. जब एक अकाउंटिंग कंसेप्ट या फिर अकाउंटिंग प्रिंसिपल एक अकाउंटिंग ईयर में यूटिलाइज हो जाता है, उसे अगले कुछ सालों तक या फिर जितने टाइम तक वो यूज किया जा सकता है, वही अकाउंटिंग अजम्पशन को और या फिर वही अकाउंटिंग मेथड को यूज करना चाहिए ताकि कंसिस्टेंसी बना रहे और ये जो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स जो है वो ट्रू एंड फेयर व्यू दे सके अपने यूजर्स को. नंबर थर्ड फंडामेंटल अकाउंटिंग assumption is accrual. Accrual is a fundamental accounting assumption and also this accrual is an accounting concept which says that or which assumes that an income or an expense is recorded in the books of accounts of a business when they are earned or incurred and not when cash or cash equivalents are paid or received. Accrual concept एक अकाउंटिंग कंसेप्ट है जो मान लेता है कि एक इनकम या फिर एक्सपेंस को तब भी बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में रिकॉर्ड किया जाएगा जब वो इनकम होता है या फिर एक्सपेंस होता है, तब नहीं किया जाएगा जब कैश का लेन देन होता है. सो इन तीनों से बनता है फंडामेंटल अकाउंटिंग assumptions. The going concern concept, accrual concept and consistency concept forms up the three fundamental accounting assumptions. So, fundamental accounting assumptions are the basic accounting assumptions. The fundamental accounting assumptions are the basic accounting assumptions. This forms the base of a financial statement, which underlies the preparation and presentation of financial statements. The preparation and presentation of financial statements. They are going concern, consistency, and accrual. These three are the fundamental accounting concepts or accounting assumptions. Usually, they are specifically stated. They are not specifically stated. This is important. Usually, they are not specifically stated because their acceptance and usage are assumed. Disclosure is necessary if not followed. अगर फंडामेंटल अकाउंटिंग एजम्पशन को फॉलो नहीं किया जाता है तब डिस्क्लोजर देना मैंडेटरी हो जाता है एक अकाउंटेंट के लिए. Our next topic, gain. Gain is a monetary benefit, profit, or advantage resulting from a transaction or a group of transactions. तो गेन क्या है? गेन इज अ मॉनेटरी बेनिफिट, प्रॉफिट और एडवांटेज रिजल्टिंग फ्रॉम अ ट्रांजैक्शन और अ ग्रुप ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शंस. Gain is a monetary benefit, anything a gain related to money, or a profit, or any advantage or benefit that is resulting from a transaction or a group of transactions. गेन एक गेन है, एक मॉनेटरी गेन है, मनी रिलेटेड गेन है, या फिर एक एडवांटेज है या फिर प्रॉफिट है जो एक ट्रांजैक्शन से या फिर एक ग्रुप ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन से ट्रांजैक्शन के लिए या फिर ट्रांजैक्शन का रिजल्ट होता है. सो गेन इज अ मॉनेटरी बेनिफिट, प्रॉफिट और एडवांटेज resulting from a transaction or group of transactions. Our next topic, general reserve. General reserve is a revenue reserve which is not earmarked for a specific purpose. So, generally there are two types of reserves: capital reserve and revenue reserve. So, what is a capital reserve? Capital reserve is created or formed due to an excess in proceeds from sale or transfer of capital assets. In case of revenue reserves are created or formed from the transactions on a day-to-day basis or from the regular or normal functions or normal functioning of a business. So, general reserve is a revenue reserve which is not earmarked for a specific purpose. तो general का मतलब क्या है? General का मतलब यही है which is not specific or not specified. General means not specific. In the similar manner, general reserve is a revenue reserve not earmarked for a specific purpose. ये जो general है, general means not specific. General means not specific. In the same manner, general reserve is a reserve which is not earmarked for a specific purpose. Our next topic, going concern assumption. So, already discussed while discussing the fundamental accounting assumptions. Going concern is an accounting assumption according to which an enterprise is viewed as continuing in operation for a foreseeable future. According to going concern assumption, any business or an organization is assumed to continue its operation for a foreseeable future or for an unlimited period of time. It is assumed that the enterprise has neither the intention nor the necessity of liquidation or of curtailing materially the scale of its operations. So, it is assumed as per going concern that any business organization has neither the intention and nor the necessity to liquidate itself or to reduce materially the scale of its operations. So, according to going concern concept or going concern assumption is a fundamental accounting assumption. Is an accounting assumption according to which enterprise is viewed to continuing in operation for a foreseeable future for an unlimited period of time. It is assumed that enterprise has neither the enterprise has neither the intention nor the necessity of liquidation or curtailing materially the scale of operation. Next topic, goodwill. What is goodwill? Goodwill is an intangible asset arising from business connections, trade name, reputation, etc. of an enterprise. So, goodwill is an intangible asset arising from business connections or trade name or reputation of an enterprise. So, goodwill is an intangible asset. What is an intangible asset? An intangible asset is such asset which cannot be felt or touched but has a specified monetary value. That are intangible assets. So, goodwill is an intangible asset which arises from good business connections. If business connections are good, goodwill will build up. It arises or goodwill is created due to a trade name, a good trade name or a good reputation. We in our general life say that if a brand is reputed or there is a brand name, the business has a better or a valuable goodwill. In the same manner, goodwill is an intangible asset arising from business connections, trade name, reputation of an enterprise. Our next topic, gross margin or gross profit. If the value or the if the value of the gross margin is negative or the gross margin has a negative value, then gross profit will be called as the gross margin will be called as gross loss. If gross margin has negative value, then gross loss. If gross margin has positive value, then gross profit. Gross margin. Gross margin is the excess of the proceeds of goods sold and services rendered during a period over their costs. Gross margin is the excess of proceeds of goods sold and services rendered during a period over their cost. If a business is goods trading related or goods oriented, or otherwise if a business is service oriented, if the proceeds from its day-to-day operations is greater than the cost incurred while giving or while producing such products or rendering such service, then it gives to gross profit. If the primary costs of producing the goods and selling the goods, producing the goods is more or producing or rendering the service is more than the proceeds from selling those goods or selling those services, then it would be called as gross loss. तो ग्रॉस मार्जिन क्या है? ग्रॉस मार्जिन एक एक्सीड है, जो एक एक्सीड है, एक्सेस है, जो एक गुड्स को सेल करके या फिर एक सर्विस को रेंडर करके जो प्रोसीड्स होता है उसको अपने कॉस्ट, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉस्ट से माइनस करके जो एक्सेस रहता है उसे ही ग्रॉस मार्जिन कहते हैं. सो कॉस्ट क्या है? कॉस्ट एक प्राइमरी एक्सपेंस है. प्राइमरी एक्सपेंस क्यों? प्राइमरी एक्सपेंस इसलिए क्योंकि उस गुड्स को प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए या फिर प्रोड्यूसेबल सेलेबल कंडीशन में लेने के लिए जो एक्सपेंस होता है या फिर एक सर्विस को रेंडर करने के लिए जो एक्सपेंस होता है वो प्राइमरी होता है. तो हम लोग क्या सीखते हैं? ग्रॉस मार्जिन इज ऑलवेज रिलेटेड टू प्राइमरी एक्सपेंस. Before taking into account administration, selling, distribution and financing expenses. ये जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एक्सपेंस है, सेलिंग एक्सपेंस है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एक्सपेंस है या फिर फाइनेंसिंग एक्सपेंस है, these are the secondary expenses, and producing the costs incurred while producing the goods or rendering the service is a primary expense. So gross margin is related to primary expense and excludes secondary expense. So gross margin is the excess of proceeds of goods sold and services rendered during a period of time over their cost before taking into account administration, selling, distribution and financing expenses. So administration, selling, distribution and financing expenses are the secondary expenses, but gross margin is related to primary expenses. When the result of the computation is negative, it is referred as gross loss. तो ग्रॉस मार्जिन यहाँ पे मैं लिख देता हूँ. ग्रॉस मार्जिन related to primary expense. अच्छा, आप लोग ऐसा भी समझ सकते हैं, यू कैन ऑल्सो टेक इन टू अकाउंट दिस एक्सप्लेनेशन. ग्रॉस मार्जिन क्या है? ग्रॉस मार्जिन इज द एक्सेस ऑफ प्रोसीड्स फ्रॉम गुड्स सोल्ड और रेंडरिंग ऑफ सर्विसेज. एक बिजनेस के लिए गुड्स सेल करके या फिर सर्विस रेंडर करके जो इनकम होता है वो ही उस बिजनेस के लिए प्राइमरी इनकम भी होता है, प्राइमरी सोर्स ऑफ इनकम भी होता है. इसीलिए we are saying that gross margin is related to primary expense or primary income. So primary expense or income. I hope you understood. If you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section down below, or also you can repeat or rewind this video and you can see once again to better understand. I think I am giving my best and that is why I deserve some support from your side. If you are liking my video, give this video a like. So our next topic, government. So we all know what is a government. Government refers to government. Very funny. Government refers to government. government agencies and similar bodies. तो गवर्नमेंट एजेंसी क्या है? What is a government agency? Example of a government agency is municipal corporation. Municipal corporation is a government agency or any government office that relates to revenue of the government is a government agency. So government sorry for the delay. So government refers to government agencies and similar bodies, whether local, national or international. लोकल बॉडी भी होता है, गवर्नमेंट के डेफिनेशन के अंदर लोकल बॉडी भी आता है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन. नेशनल बॉडी भी आता है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, और इंटरनेशनल गवर्नमेंट भी आता है. So government as per accounting or accountancy includes the government agencies and similar bodies. Our next topic is government grants. So what is government grants? Government grants are assistance by government in cash or kind. हम सबको पता है गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से बिजनेस ओनर्स को कुछ हेल्प किया जाता है ताकि वो जो बिजनेस ओनर्स है वो अपना बिजनेस को अपस्केल कर सके और इम्प्रूव कर सके, ताकि उस बिजनेस से इकोनॉमी को कुछ फायदा हो. इसीलिए ये ही मेन पर्पस है गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट्स देने का. So government grants are assistance by the government given to business owners. Government grants are assistance by government in cash or kind. Government grants can be in cash or kind. For example, government is gifting a machinery to a business. That is assistance to the business owner in kind. And for example, government is paying for the machinery of a business owner, paying in cash. Yes, paying in cash for a machinery. That is assistance by the government in form of cash. Thus, government grants is assistance by government in cash or kind to an enterprise for past or future compliance with certain conditions. If government grants some assistance to a business owner, government also imposes some conditions that must be complied by the business owner to receive such grant. So government grant is an assistance by the government in cash or kind to an enterprise for past and future compliance with certain conditions. गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट पाने के लिए एक बिजनेस ओनर को कुछ कंप्लायंस करना पड़ता है या फिर कुछ कंडीशंस को फॉलो करना पड़ता है, तभी वो गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट के लिए एलिजिबल होता है. गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट exclude those forms of government assistance which cannot reasonably be have a value placed upon, and transactions with government which cannot be distinguished from normal trading transactions of an enterprise. So government grants exclude those forms of government assistance which cannot be reasonably have a value placed upon. जो कुछ भी गवर्नमेंट असिस्टेंस जिसका कुछ वैल्यू कैलकुलेट या फिर कुछ वैल्यू दिया नहीं जा सकता है, कैलकुलेट जो वैल्यू है वो कंप्यूट किया नहीं जा सकता है, वो सब गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट वो सब असिस्टेंस गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से असिस्टेंस गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट नहीं कहलाते हैं. Those assistance by the government whose value cannot be computed must not be included under government grants. Also, government grant do not include any transactions with the government which are in par with normal trading transactions of that business. अगर एक बिजनेस गवर्नमेंट के साथ सिमिलर जो उसका नॉर्मल ट्रेडिंग है उसके सिमिलर वे में गवर्नमेंट के साथ कुछ ट्रांजैक्शन में एंटर करता है, वो ट्रांजैक्शन को भी हम लोग गवर्नमेंट ग्रांट नहीं कहलाएंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, गवर्नमेंट इज सेलिंग अ प्रोडक्ट फॉर ₹10, but the business also is also purchasing the same product from the government by paying ₹10, then that transaction of ₹10 will not form a part of government grant. So, transactions with the government which cannot be distinguished from normal trading transaction. That ₹10 transaction of the government was a normal trading transaction, and that is why it will not be included under government grant. Our next topic, gross book value. What is gross book value? Gross book value of a fixed asset is the historical cost or other amount substituted for historical cost in the books of accounts or financial statements. So as per layman terms, gross book value is the historical cost of an asset. Historical cost of an asset or any such value that is replaced by the historical cost or that replaces or substitutes the historical cost. ग्रॉस वैल्यू वो वैल्यू ऑफ एन एसेट होता है, वो एसेट का वैल्यू होता है जो उसका हिस्टोरिकल प्राइस हो, हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट हो, या फिर उस हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट का रिप्लेसमेंट या फिर सब्स्टिट्यूट हो. दैट इज वाई ग्रॉस बुक वैल्यू इज ऑफ अ फिक्स्ड एसेट. ग्रॉस बुक वैल्यू सिर्फ फिक्स्ड एसेट के लिए होता है. Only fixed assets have a gross book value. Is the historical cost or amount substituted for historical cost in the books of accounts or financial statements. When the amount is shown net of accumulated depreciation, it is called as net book value. जब ग्रॉस बुक वैल्यू से accumulated depreciation डिडक्ट किया जाता है, तब उस डिडक्टेड वैल्यू को हम लोग जो रिजल्टिंग अमाउंट है उसे हम लोग नेट बुक वैल्यू कहते हैं. When accumulated depreciation is deducted from gross book value, the resulting figure is called as net book value of the fixed asset. And this net book value is only the accurate value of the assets that needs to be shown in the financial statements for an accurate disclosure to the users of the financial statements. ये जो नेट बुक वैल्यू ही है, ये सबसे एक्यूरेट वैल्यू है एक मशीनरी का या फिर कुछ एसेट का जो एक यूजर यूज कर सकता है फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स के वैल्यू के अंदर. So when amount is shown net of accumulated depreciation, it is termed as net book value. तो यहाँ पे मैं लिख भी देता हूँ. Let me write. Gross book value less accumulated depreciation, DEP means depreciation, results to sorry, results to net book value, and this net book value is finally shown or depicted in the financial statements for proper disclosure or accurate disclosure. Our next topic is income and expenditure statement. Income and expenditure statement. So, income and expenditure statement is similar to profit and loss account. Yes, a income and expenditure statement is similar to a profit and loss account. In our class 11th and 12th, we have discussed about NPO, not-for-profit organization. In the case of a not-for-profit organization, a income and expenditure statement is used. Income and expenditure statement is a financial statement, obviously, and that is why we are discussing in accounts subject. Income and expenditure statement is a financial statement often prepared by non-profit making organizations or enterprises like clubs, associations, etc. to present their revenues and expenses for an accounting period and to show the excess of revenues over expenses or vice versa for the period. So, in case of a profit-making organization, this similar task, the showcasing of expenses and incomes and the excess of incomes over expenses is done through a profit and loss statement or profit and loss account. But for a not-for-profit organization, this task of showcasing incomes and expenses and calculating the excess of incomes over expenses is done through income and expenditure statement. In case of a profit and loss account, the resulting figure is gross profit or net profit. But in case of a not-for-profit organization, net profit cannot be the final result. In that case, income and expenditure statement is prepared that gives the resulting figure, which is known as surplus. Surplus is the excess of incomes over expenses of a not-for-profit organization in an accounting period. So, income and expenditure account is a financial statement often prepared by non-profit making enterprises like clubs, associations, etc. to present their revenues and expenses for an accounting period and to show excess of revenues and over expenses. It is similar to profit and loss statement and is also called revenue and expense statement. Income and expenditure statement is also called revenue and expense statement. So in that case, income, we all know, income is known as revenue, and expenditure is known as expense. Yes, and that is why revenue and expense statement. Now, our next topic, intangible asset. Intangible asset means any asset that cannot be felt or touched. So, intangible asset is an asset which does not have a physical identity. Example, goodwill, patents, copyright, etc. So, intangible asset is an asset which does not have a physical identity. इंटेंजिबल एसेट वो एसेट है जिसका कुछ इंटेंजिबल एसेट वो एसेट है जिसका कुछ फिजिकल आइडेंटिटी नहीं है, उसे ही हम लोग इंटेंजिबल एसेट कहते हैं। इंटेंजिबल एसेट का मतलब कैन इंटेंजिबल एसेट का मतलब एसेट that cannot be felt or touched. An asset that cannot be felt or touched is known as intangible asset. Our next topic, inventories. Inventories are assets. Inventories are assets. What is an asset? Asset is any item inside a business that can be exchanged by the business to earn cash or to get or to acquire cash balance. And inventories is exchanged or sold to earn cash. And that is why inventory is an asset. Inventory is an asset held for the sale of ordinary course of business. Held for the sale, अगर एक आइटम एक बिजनेस के पास है जिसको सेल करके वो नॉर्मल रेवेन्यू कमाता है, वो उसके लिए ऑर्डिनरी वो उसका पर्पस है सेल इन द ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस। मतलब क्या है, ये जो है ये फिनिश्ड गुड्स है। हेल्ड फॉर सेल इन ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस मींस implies to it is a finished good. It is a finished product or finished good. Next, in the process of production of such sale, अगर एक प्रोडक्शन बिजनेस है, एक बिजनेस है जो गुड्स को प्रोड्यूस करता है, एक प्रोडक्ट है जो हाफ वे डन है, एक प्रोडक्ट है फॉर एग्जांपल सी जिसको तैयार करने के लिए 3 स्टेप्स होता है। फॉर एग्जांपल एक वो गुड सेकंड स्टेप पे अटका हुआ है, उसे कहते हैं सेमी फिनिश्ड गुड्स, राइट? यस, इन्वेंटरीज आल्सो इंक्लूड सेमी फिनिश्ड गुड्स, that is goods in the process of production for sale in the ordinary course of business. इसके मतलब है inventories also include semi finished goods. Semi finished goods. And the next, in the form of minerals or supplies to be consumed in the production process or rendering of services. ऐसा कुछ मिनरल्स या फिर मटेरियल्स जो प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस के अंदर या फिर सर्विस रेंडर करने का प्रोसेस के अंदर यूटिलाइज होता है। दैट मीन्स द एसेट in the inventory includes such assets that are raw materials that should be utilized in the production process. That is, it includes raw materials. This is depicted by raw materials. Inventories include finished goods, semi-finished goods and raw materials. ये तीनों चीजें finished goods, semi-finished goods and raw materials inventories के अंदर आता है या फिर consider किया जाता है। Next topic, investment. What is an investment? Investment is an expenditure on assets held to earn interest, income, profit or other benefits. इन्वेस्टमेंट ऐसा एक्सपेंस है जो एक एसेट के ऊपर किया जाता है, जो एसेट एक इंटरेस्ट इनकम करने के लिए या फिर कुछ अदर इनकम करने के लिए या फिर प्रॉफिट अर्न करने के लिए या फिर और कुछ बेनिफिट अर्न करने के लिए काम आता है। इन्वेस्टमेंट is an expenditure on such an asset. That asset can be utilized by the business to earn an interest, earn an income, earn a profit, or earn any other benefits. The next topic is investments. So, investment and investments. Plural only, an addition of s, a plural term. So, the meaning changes. Investment, we did investment, now investments. Investments are assets held not for operational purpose or for rendering of services. Investments वो assets है जो ऑपरेशन प्रोसेस के अंदर यूटिलाइज नहीं होता है लेकिन बिजनेस का होल्डिंग में है. Assets that are not held for operational purpose but held by the business is known as investments. That is, assets other than fixed assets or current assets. Fixed assets are those assets that are utilized by the business to earn a regular income or regular source of regular business source, and current assets are exchanged in the day-to-day business operations to earn an income. In that case, the assets which are not fixed assets and which are not current assets are investments. Investments वो assets है जो एक fixed asset भी नहीं है और एक current asset भी नहीं है. Fixed asset वो asset है जिसको use करके एक business अपना काम या फिर अपना ऑपरेशंस चलाता है, और करंट एसेट्स वो एसेट्स होता है जिसको ट्रेड करके या फिर जिसको यूज करके एक अकाउंटिंग पीरियड में एक रेवेन्यू जनरेट करता है डे टू डे बेसिस में. जो एसेट्स फिक्स्ड एसेट्स भी नहीं है और करंट एसेट्स भी नहीं है, या फिर जो एसेट हेल्ड किया जाता है एक बिजनेस के द्वारा लेकिन वो एसेट ऑपरेशंस में काम नहीं आता है, उसे हम लोग इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कहते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सिक्योरिटीज, शेयर्स, डिबेंचर्स, इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टीज. हम लोग इन्वेस्टमेंट्स करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मैं एक शेयर खरीदता हूं टाटा मोटर्स का. टाटा मोटर्स लिमिटेड का एक शेयर मैं खरीदता हूं. वो जो शेयर है वो मेरा प्रोडक्शन प्रोसेस में काम नहीं आ रहा है, लेकिन वो मेरा होल्डिंग है, वो मेरा एसेट है. उसी एसेट को, वो टाटा मोटर्स लिमिटेड का शेयर मेरे लिए इन्वेस्टमेंट्स के रूप में रहेगा मेरे बिजनेस में. नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज इशूड शेयर कैपिटल. इशूड शेयर कैपिटल Issued share capital is that portion of the authorized share capital which has actually been offered for subscription. जब एक कंपनी का स्टार्टिंग होता है, when a company is incorporated, it needs to disclose the amount of capital that it needs to draw from the shareholders. It needs to disclose this information with the registrar of companies. रजिस्ट्रार ऑफ कंपनीज के साथ एक कंट्रैक्ट या फिर एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग में जाना पड़ता है एक कंपनी को इनकॉर्पोरेट करने के टाइम पे, कि वो कंपनी अपने लाइफ टाइम में कितना अमाउंट का कैपिटल ड्रॉ करेगा अपना शेयर होल्डर्स से. उस कैपिटल को, उस ऑथराइज्ड अमाउंट को या फिर उस परमिटेड अमाउंट को हम लोग ऑथराइज्ड शेयर कैपिटल कहते हैं. उस ऑथराइज्ड शेयर कैपिटल का एक पोर्शन जो शेयर होल्डर्स के तरफ से एक्चुअली बुलाया जाता है या फिर लिया जाता है, उसे हम लोग इशूड शेयर कैपिटल कहते हैं. द एक्चुअल पोर्शन of the authorized share capital that is actually called from the shareholders or taken from the shareholders is known as issued share capital. Issued share capital is the portion of authorized share capital which has actually been offered for subscription by the shareholders. कौन सब्सक्राइब करने के लिए ऑफर करता है? Shareholders. This include any bonus shares allotted by the corporate enterprise. ये जो authorized issued share capital है वो बोनस शेयर्स को भी इंक्लूड करता है. बोनस शेयर्स क्या है वो आप लोग को पूरा या फिर यू विल फाइनली गेट इट व्हाट इज अ बोनस शेयर इन योर सीए इंटरमीडिएट क्लासेस. ओके, नाउ लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड issued share capital. So for example, a company while its incorporation has asked for a permission to issue this much of share capital. This is the authorized share capital. But among this portion is actually called up from the public. Public gave this portion. This portion would be called, the called up portion will be called the issued share capital. Now the next topic, joint ventures. A joint venture is a contractual agreement whereby two or more companies or two or more parties, sorry, it will not be companies, it will be parties. Two or more parties undertake an economic activity which is subject to joint control. I hope आपका जो लॉ क्लास है सीए फाउंडेशन का लॉ का चैप्टर 1 में ही है, इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स एक्ट 1872. आई थिंक एंड आई होप कि आप लोग को समझ आ रहा है क्या कॉन्ट्रैक्ट क्या है. I hope you understand what is a contract. So, a joint venture is a contract between two or more parties for an economic activity with a joint control. जिस इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी में जॉइंट कंट्रोल के एक टू और मोर पार्टीज का जॉइंट कंट्रोल होता है जो एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट से बनता है उसे हम लोग जॉइंट वेंचर कहते हैं. The joint control over an economic activity which is formed as a result of a contract between two or more parties is known as joint venture. Joint venture is a contractual agreement. Joint venture is a contract whereby two or more parties undertake an economic activity which is subject to joint control. Two or more parties who enter into the contract should jointly control the economic activity. The next topic is last in, first out, LIFO. Last in, first out is directly opposite to the topic first in, first out, which is discussed in part 3 video of this chapter itself. Last in, first out. So according to last in first out, an item which is included or acquired at last should be sold or consumed at first. An item which is acquired at last at the end should be consumed at first, consumed or sold at first. Last in, first out. Yes. Last in, first out is the computation of cost of items. It is a computation of cost of items sold or consumed. Last in, first out is a method of costing or computation of cost of items sold or consumed during a period on the basis that the terms that the items has been last acquired were sold or consumed first. Last in, first out is the computation of the cost of items sold or consumed during a period on the basis that the items last acquired were sold or consumed first. Items last acquired, sold or consumed at first on a priority basis. So last in first out is a method of costing. Yes, in your CA Intermediate Group 1, costing is also included, and in costing you will learn it in more detail. Last in first out. What is last in and first out? You will also learn, I think, you in your future classes of CA Foundation, you will also be learning about this last in first out, but in the detailed manner you could learn it in your CA Intermediate classes. Our next topic is liability. What is a liability? Liability is just opposite to an asset. Liability is the financial obligation of an enterprise other than owner's funds. Liability is the financial obligation of an enterprise other than owner's funds. What is a financial obligation? Financial obligation means payable or liable to pay. Anything that the company or an organization or a business is liable to pay other than the owner's funds is known as liability. In our class 11th and 12th classes, we learned about a topic named accounting formula that says assets equals to liabilities plus capital. I hope you all have done this. Assets equals to liabilities plus capital. Yes, this liability is taken from this liabilities plus capital. Other than owner's funds is capital. Yes, excluding capital, liabilities. Liabilities means liable to pay or financial obligation. Our next topic is lion. It's not lion, L-I-O-N. It's not L-I-O-N, it's lion, L-I-E-N. Lion is the right of one person to satisfy a claim against another by holding or retaining possession of the other's assets or property. Lion is the right of one person to hold or to gain access or gain the possession or retain the possession of others' assets in exchange of a loan given or a advance given. Lion is the right of one person. Lion is the right of one person to satisfy a claim against another by holding or retaining possession. The possession of the asset should be held or retained by the other person of others' assets or property. For example, I went to take a gold loan. I am taking my gold, which is an asset, and giving it to the banker. The banker is keeping the gold in his locker. So the banker is having the lion of my gold, that is my asset. So that the right of the banker to hold my asset or to retain my asset in return of which he is giving a loan, that right of retaining my asset or retaining the right of or holding my asset is known as lion. जब एक गोल्ड लोन दिया जाता है, एक बैंक अपना मेरा जो गोल्ड का एसेट है वो रख लेता है या फिर रिटेन कर लेता है, उस गोल्ड जो एसेट है उसका राइट रिटेन कर लेता है, उसी रिटेंशन का राइट जो है उस राइट को हम लोग लायन कहते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज लायन. अगर मैं गोल्ड लोन को रीपे ना करूं, बैंकर के पास ये राइट भी है, वो मेरा गोल्ड जो मेरा एसेट है उसको सेल भी कर सकता है। ये राइट भी लाइन के अंडर कवर्ड है। Our next topic is long-term liability. What is a long-term liability? Long-term liability is a liability which does not fall due for payment in a relatively short period. What is a relatively short period? We have discussed in our part 3 video and also in the part 2 video. So, as per accounting or as per fundamentals of accounting, a period that is less than or equals to 12 months is known as a relatively short period in accountancy. So, any liability that is not liable or is not payable within 12 months is known as long term liability. जो भी लाइबिलिटी जो 12 महीने के अंदर पेएबल नहीं है उसे हम लोग लॉन्ग टर्म लाइबिलिटी कहते हैं। लॉन्ग टर्म लाइबिलिटी is a liability which does not fall due for payment in a relatively short period, normally a period not more than 12 months. So what is a long-term liability? We can say that long-term liability tends to be a liability for greater than 12 months. Any liability that is for a greater term greater than 12 months, for any liability that is for a term greater than 12 months is known as a long-term liability. Our next topic, lease. So we all have learned this lease. What is a lease? So a lease is an agreement. A lease is an agreement whereby the lessor conveys to the lessee. A lease is an agreement whereby the lessor conveys to the lessee in return for a payment or series of payments the right to use the asset for an agreed period of time. अगर एक लिमिटेड या फिर अग्रीड पीरियड ऑफ टाइम के लिए एक पर्सन अपना एसेट का राइट टू यूज किसी और को दे देता है इन रिटर्न फॉर अ पेमेंट और सीरीज ऑफ पेमेंट, उसी एक एग्रीमेंट के जरिए उस अग्रीमेंट को हम लीज अग्रीमेंट या फिर लीज कहते हैं। When one person gives away the right to use his asset to another person in return of a payment or a series of payment and which is covered by an agreement, that agreement is known as lease or lease agreement. So what is a lease? Lease is an agreement. Obviously lease is an agreement whereby the lessor conveys to the lessee in return of payments or series of payments, payments must be included, the right to use an asset to an agreed for an agreed period of time. Period must be limited. There should be a starting point and also an ending point of the lease. So who is the lessor? Lessor is the asset owner. This lessor is the asset owner. Who is leasing out is known as the lessor. This is the asset owner. Lessor is the asset owner and lessee is the asset user. So in this case the asset user gives a payment or gives a payment or series of payment to the asset owner. The asset user The asset user gives a payment or a series of payment to the asset owner, and the asset owner gives the right to use his asset to the asset user, and the asset user uses that asset for a given period of time, and the agreement is over. This type of agreement is known as lease. Next is materiality. So we have learned about this materiality concept in our Unit 2 video. If you want to learn in detail, please check out my Unit 2 video. It would be beneficial for you. Materiality. Materiality, as per materiality, only that type of items or financial items must be included in the books of accounts or financial statements that are useful for the users of the financial statements. So, materiality. Materiality is an accounting concept according to which all relatively important and relevant items, that is, items the knowledge of which might influence the decisions of the users of the financial statements, are disclosed in the financial statements. Materiality concept is an accounting concept according to which relatively important and relevant items, the financial items should be relevant and relatively important, and which is assumed to affect the decisions of the users of the financial statements, should only be included in the financial statements. So, materiality is an accounting concept according to which all relatively important and relevant items, that is, the items the knowledge of which might influence decisions of the users of financial statements, are disclosed in the financial statements. Our next topic is mortgage. Mortgage is a transfer of interest in specific immovable property for the purpose of securing a loan advanced or to be advanced, an existing or future debt, or the performance of an engagement which may give rise to a pecuniary liability. So, what do you mean by pecuniary? Pecuniary means related to money or money related. So, this word pecuniary means money related. So, mortgage is a transfer of interest. Mortgage is a transfer of interest in specific immovable property. If the property would be movable, it would be known as pledge. Just asset को if I take a gold loan, the gold which I give to the banker, that giving is known as pledge. But in spite of gold, if I give my land to the banker, land which is an immovable property, in that case that would not be known as pledge, it would be known as mortgage. So, mortgage is a transfer of interest in specific immovable property for the purpose of securing a loan. What is the purpose? Purpose is securing a loan or a debt which is to be given or which is given in the past. In the objective of securing that type of loan or debt, any giving away or in any mortgage or any giving away the right to the banker or provider of the money of an immovable property. अगर कुछ immovable property के बदल में या फिर एक immovable property के against लोन दिया जाता है या फिर डेट दिया जाता है, उसे हम लोग कहते हैं mortgage. अगर वही सेम प्रॉपर्टी अगर मूवेबल हो जाए या फिर वो एसेट मूवेबल हो जाए, उसी को हम लोग प्लेज कहते हैं। Our next topic is net assets or shareholders funds. Net assets or shareholders funds or net worth. What is net assets? Net assets is total assets minus total liabilities or total assets minus total outside liabilities. Net assets is the excess of book value of assets other than fictitious assets of an enterprise over the liabilities. So, what is a net asset? Net asset is the excess value of asset over the liabilities. So, what that means? Net assets is equals to shareholders funds. What is shareholders funds? Shareholders funds in the case of a company includes the share capital and the reserves that is created within the company. In that case, net assets equals to total assets minus total liabilities. So, net assets equals to, it is also known as net worth. Net assets is equal to total assets, let me write it again, total assets minus total liabilities. Total assets minus total liabilities is equal to net assets. Our next topic is next fixed assets. Next topic is net fixed assets. What is net fixed assets? Fixed assets less accumulated depreciation thereon up to date. What is fixed assets? In this case, the fixed assets is the historical cost of fixed assets or the gross value of the fixed assets. So, gross value of the fixed assets or the historical cost of the fixed assets less accumulated depreciation gives the net fixed assets. जब एक फिक्स वैल्यू का कॉस्ट से, फिक्स वैल्यू का जो हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट है उससे हम लोग टोटल एक्यूमुलेटेड डेप्रिसिएशन लेस कर देते हैं, तभी हम लोग को मिल जाता है नेट फिक्स्ड एसेट्स. Fixed assets less accumulated depreciation. So let me write, next net fixed assets implies to book, let me erase it, historic cost of fixed asset minus accumulated depreciation. Historic cost or historical cost of fixed asset minus accumulated depreciation gives the net fixed assets. Our next topic is net profit or net loss. Net profit or net loss is the excess of revenue over expenses during a particular period of time. So what is net profit or net loss? Is the resulting figure of a profit and loss account, similar to an income and expenditure statement. In case of an income and expenditure statement, it was a resulting to surplus. But the resultant figure of a profit and loss account or profit and loss statement is net profit or net loss. If the resulting figure of a profit and loss statement is negative, then it is known as net loss. So, what is net profit or net loss? It is an excess of revenue over expenses during a particular accounting period. When the result of this computation is negative, it is known as net loss. Net profit may be shown before or after tax. Net profit before tax means before paying the tax to the government, and net profit after tax means net profit of the firm less tax paid gives the net profit after tax. So we can say this: net profit or net loss is only applicable to profit oriented firms. If the firm or the business would be a non-for-profit organization, this net profit or net loss could be called as surplus or deficit. Our next topic is net realizable value. Net realizable value, our next topic. Net realizable value. Net realizable value is the estimated selling price in the ordinary course of business less estimated costs of completion and the estimated cost necessary to make the sale. So what is net realizable value? Is the estimated selling price. Net realizable value is the estimated selling price in the ordinary course of business less the estimated costs of completion of the estimated costs necessary to make the sale. That is, net realizable value is the selling price or estimated selling price less the selling expenses. एक चीज को सेल करने के लिए कुछ एक्सपेंसेस अगर इनकर करता है एक बिजनेस, उस सेलिंग प्राइस से वो जो सेलिंग एक्सपेंस है उसे लेस करके आता है नेट रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू. एक चीज को, एक आइटम को सेल करके क्या अमाउंट रियलाइज किया जाता है उसे हम लोग नेट रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू कहते हैं. इन दैट केस नेट रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू implies to estimated selling price. Net realizable value is the estimated selling price minus selling expenses. Estimated selling price minus estimated selling expenses gives the net realizable value. So I'm ending over here today. That's all for today, and I know there will be a part 5 video of this chapter itself. This was the part 4 video, and this is a long chapter. This chapter consists of many definitions and many theories, and that is why this is continuing from past 3 to 4 videos, and I think a part 5 video will end this chapter. That's all for today. If you like this video, give this video a like, and also comment down your any suggestion or feedback, and also share this video and share my channel with all your friends and family, and also keep subscribed to my channel. Thank you for watching. Signing off. Stay safe and stay blessed, and keep studying.